Wow, okay. That is showing what looks to me like a wall cloud. So that wall cloud, sometimes we can get some rotation within that cloud itself. So we'll see whether that's a wall cloud or a shelf cloud. Sometimes it's better to get a better view out of that. So sometimes that shelf cloud can produce what seems to be rather ominous looking conditions too. And that shelf cloud just telling us too, there's a lot of cold air descending out of this storm. But when you're looking at this from the tower cam, this certainly looks like one of those situations where that we've got one of those stronger storms, and the National Weather Service even called this a supercell. So we had a lot of conditions, really, the instability to produce this storm. Even the Storm Prediction Center. So these are the severe weather experts all the way in Norman, Oklahoma. They said the Juniata River Valley seemed to be sort of the hot spot if we were to see any of these stronger supercells form. They did a very good job kind of pinpointing that location. So for a lot of us into Lebanon, Lancaster, York, Franklin, Adams counties, pretty quiet. I'd say let's, for a lot of us now into central Dauphin County, I'm going to move this and just kind of zoom out so we can all get an idea of where this storm currently is located. And if I even zoom out more, everything else that we see in the area, non-severe threat. So I know we see a lot of rain currently through Franklin County, but it's what we're seeing moving out of Perry County that has the potential to produce any storms. I know we've got Dennis and Alicia on standby. Are you guys hearing anything at all from the newsroom?
We just aren't so far yet, Eric. I'm sorry. We are, not to say we won't. We're waiting to hear.
And if you're seeing things too, also let us know what you're seeing out there, folks that are watching.
Take pictures, send those to us. That would be great. We'll put that on digital as well. And so we're just going to continue to keep our eye on it. Obviously, you get the gist. If you're in the Duncannon area, which is that's the center of this storm right now. You get inside, you go to a safe place. If you've got a basement, go down there. If you don't have a basement, stay on the lowest floor you have. Go to an interior room, whether that's a powder room you may have downstairs or even a little closet. Just keep yourself as safe as possible. If you can, continue to watch on your phone. Bring your phone with you. This is expected to last, what, Eric, in the next half hour? The storm could fizzle by then or move on by then?
We'll see. This storm, when it was in Landisburg, they issued the warning for parts of Dauphin and Lebanon. So we already knew this storm as it developed. These supercells, they can last a little while.
Okay.
So this thing, I would say it's still going to maintain some strength here moving into Dauphin County. We'll see if it moves, it still continues that strength into Lebanon County.
But it was previously in other areas, right? Did it produce anything there as it was on its way here?
At this point, what I've got, and moving at 45 miles an hour, I mean, we're getting the information right now. Yeah. You know, just before this storm issued, or we saw the tornado warning, got the text from my brother-in-law saying nickel-size hail, and we could see some of that hail. And that was near Mex Corner. That was, Mex Corner. So we're talking about 3 miles west of Duncannon. So for a lot of us now, the strongest part of this storm is probably going to be through parts of like Powell's Valley, Clarks Valley area. Sometimes I can get both of those valleys a bit confused, but it's paralleling really the mountains of central Dauphin. So for a lot of people that do travel 325, I know for a lot that's sort of a back way to head home from work. 325, that's going to be the road that's probably going to be most impacted, and obviously 225 and 147. So for a lot of us, heading home from the Harrisburg area, heading up towards Halifax, Millersburg, Eville, those are some of the heavier routes, and obviously this time of the day, I would say just be a little careful out there if you are driving. As we see this tornado warning continue. I'm going to quickly see if we're getting any strong signal for any rotation. Not quite as strong as what I saw a little bit earlier. I'm going to put that storm track on for you. Storm track still shows maybe a little bit of an indication of some weak rotation there. And again, this is not going to be one of those situations where you're going to want to go outside and try to storm chase this thing, especially when it's across the ridges. We've got a lot of obstruction, making it very difficult. For a lot of us, especially in this area, let's just take those warnings and those safety tips. Matter of fact, we can show those safety tips again. And you know what? This is not a bad idea to just have a discussion with your family saying, you know what, if this happens as we're just starting, really severe weather season, this is what we want to do as a family. Maybe you're not quite home yet, just getting the rest of the family in together. And if you do have a basement, that's obviously the best place to be. And then staying away from windows. If you can get the most interior part of the home, that's the best place to be. Same thing goes if you're out, at a gas station or anything like that. We're going to kind of want to find the most, the most interior part of any strong structural building. That you can, depending on where you are. But notice where this is. This is not a location that has a lot of buildings in the area. So we're talking the mountains of central Dauphin County. So it's mainly just mountains and roads, one of them being Route 325. So for a lot of us, it's just traveling in our car. Let's get out of velocity. Let's see if I can show you. Zoom out a little bit. Where the storm's tracking, see if I can get any more information from the National Weather Service. Still getting some text, so obviously this is moving out of an area that I'm pretty familiar with. Just getting some very heavy winds, blowing rain. Not getting anything here as far as any additional hail, just very strong winds. So it looks like, if anything, if this storm is not producing a tornado, it's just enough to produce strong winds. We can get damaging wind gusts over 70 miles an hour, and I think a lot of us want to include that and say, well, there was a tornado, but 90% of the time when we get wind damage, most of that is from damaging winds. Dennis?
Well, I have a friend in Rich who's in Enola, which is Cumberland County, just across the river from Harrisburg, and he sent a picture. It's not even raining there. There are some dramatic clouds, but it's completely dry where he is.
Yeah, it just seems like this is where. And when I mentioned the Storm Prediction Center highlighting the Juniata River Valley, this is the Storm Prediction Center. They cover the entire United States, and when they can pinpoint exactly where they can see the best chances for this to happen.
Well, and this is a good beginning run, because the bottom line is this stuff happens when spring wants to say hello and winter doesn't want to go, and they clash, and this is what happens.
Yep, most often around here, May and June tend to be those times, but we've had tornado warnings even in December at times. It's when we start to move into that transitional time. And our record warmth, 79 today, 80 yesterday. I want to quickly look at, we just got more information coming from the National Weather Service. So it just looks like the severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Cumberland County and east central Perry counties is canceled. So they want to continue. Look at that cloud. I mean, that is just amazing. That is really what I would consider a supercell. You don't really see that too often, and to have cameras this time, have cameras all over the place to actually see this. I mean, when you see something like that, this is what you learn in the classroom. Supercells are just very powerful storms. Everything that I've been getting so far, just indicating that we're getting wind damage. Still looking for any type of rotation. Haven't heard anything about that yet. We still have about another 15 minutes here of this storm, and we'll see what happens. When you notice this storm right now moving through central Dauphin, through the mountains, I know for a lot of us in Lebanon County, a little concern, like, okay, well, are we next? What are we going to be seeing out of this? Right now, it looks like if you follow this track, this storm track, it's probably going to be into parts of northern Lebanon County, probably within the next half an hour. Let's see if we can get storm track on here for you. If it's traveling east-northeast. So we're talking areas, Manada Gap, Fort Indiantown Gap, Cold Spring, probably within the next hour. And I want to quickly read you the latest bulletin from the National Weather Service. And again, they're just canceling Cumberland County and east central Perry County. So for those of us that were in that tornado warned area in Cumberland County, that has since been canceled. And the same thing for east central Perry County. That tornado warning is canceled. So we're talking just mainly now central Dauphin. You see that arrow that's spinning around? That is called radar indicated. So the radar is at least indicating, or at least noticing, that we do have some rotation still happening. So we're talking closer to, let's see if I can remove all of this and start from scratch here to show you where we are and to get our bearings. Again, lots of showers and storms in the area. I got a new update showing Adams County now in a severe thunderstorm warning. So not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning. Quickly zoom down there quickly just to show you as we're getting more of those storms through Chambersburg, up through Waynesboro. That's going to be heading over South Mountain. This is the storm that prompted the tornado warning. So right now, between 443 and 325. So both of those roads, and again, a lot of those roads, especially 325, you're surrounded by ridges. It's not something that you're going to be heading your way. It's just going to be a wall of very heavy rain. From Ritzy Village to Manada Gap, I would say that is going to be an area we're going to be seeing more of a wind. If we're getting strong winds out of this, we're going to be seeing some wind damage reports. So we're going to be paying very close attention. And again, we have a great digital team here. They're keeping an eye, and they're going to be passing any information along to Dennis and Alicia at this time as we see this tornado warning that's going to go on for at least another 15 minutes. Still not getting anything coming in from the newsroom, Alicia?
We're actually trying to get Michael Brullo on the phone, your friend and ours. He is one of our fill-in forecasters. He is on his way. He is trying to follow this storm.
Okay.
And once we get him on the phone.
I got another meteorologist that lives in Marysville area, and getting some video just showing some broad rotation. So
and there's a photo there.
Look
too.
at that.
It's pretty dramatic. I've gotten a number of dramatic photos as well, and I'm told that in Duncannon it is now clear.
And I'm sure it's probably warming up again.
Fast.
Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of sort of debris clouds from that. Can we actually go back to that tower cam? So our friend from Marysville saying that very broad rotation. So looking at this storm itself and looking at the cloud rotation, a lot of the times we can get broad rotation, not necessarily very narrow funnel-like. And sometimes that can cause, even prompt some concern when you see a rotation like that. Strong damaging winds that may come down from that, also hail from that. We do have on the phone Michael Brullo. Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah, Eric, how's it going?
Pretty good. Yeah. First off, can you tell me where you're located, just to give us an idea of where you are right now?
Yeah, right now I am getting off of 322 and getting on 81 northbound in Susquehanna Township. I just came from Dauphin Borough.
What are you seeing?
Well, it was pretty intense up that way. The circulation crossed the river just north of Marysville. And I will tell you, I just joined you guys now, so I'm not sure what all you were talking about. But in Perry County, the circulation seemed a little bit tighter. But when it crossed over the river, it seems to have broadened out. So I did see some broad rotation from the Dauphin Borough. I was in the parking lot of the Middle Paxton Middle School. Near the firehouse there, and as it crossed over just to my south, you could see some rotation. And I've been following this basically since Huntington County. But right now I'm on 81 northbound in Susquehanna Township, just south of rotation. And if anyone's in the Harrisburg area, they would be able to see to the north. Of course, you want to stay inside and stay safe, but to the north of Harrisburg, just northeast of the city, there's a low cloud. That's just the base of the storm. I'm not seeing any obvious rotation at the moment. The rotation is probably broadened out a little bit too much for me to detect, but it's going to follow right along Blue Mountain right there towards the Lingelstown area, towards Grantville as well.
Michael, Alicia here. I just want to clarify, did you say once this went over the Susquehanna River, it seemed to weaken a little bit?
It did, just a little bit. However, as Eric will tell you, these storms, they cycle up and down. So I don't want anyone to be off guard, but it definitely looks a little bit more intense in Perry County than it does right now. However, it doesn't mean it's not going to continue to strengthen again.
And Michael, I know weather is your passion. Are you actually following this storm?
I am, Alicia. I've been on it since it was near Fulton and Huntington County. I drove out that way, and I lost cell service. I lost visual of the storm. I had to get back on the highway, and I caught back up with it. Near Carlisle. So I've been on it since Carlisle.
We don't recommend people follow storms, by the way.
Michael's an expert.
He is an expert. Is there anything that bothers you? Anything you see menacing, or would you feel like is your thought that this thing is lightening up a bit?
Well, I think people should definitely take precautions for a strong thunderstorm. I think the bigger threat is probably some straight line winds and maybe even some hail. I think the strongest part of the hail core right now is over Fishing Creek Valley, just north of Lincolnstown, just over Blue Mountain. I can see it here from the 81-83 split. There's a large white area of the cloud cover of the rain shaft, which is probably some hail up to maybe quarter size or even maybe a little bit bigger, depending on where it's at.
Hey, Michael, what you're explaining right now, the rain shaft, we can see that. We have the Harrisburg Tower camera that's up, and it looks just almost faded when you really extend down from the clouds. That is the rain shaft that you are describing right now. That is where we're getting some of the heaviest rain. And again, if we're to get any hail from it, there we are zooming in. So this is kind of neat when you can zoom in and actually see the leading edge of this very heavy rain. It doesn't seem like we have any type of rotation descending down from the clouds other than just very heavy rain. And Michael, too, everything that I've been getting through some of my friends in this area have all just mentioned it's just been wind so far. The strongest that I've heard is about 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, I believe that. I stayed south of the main core of the storm to stay out of the hail. So I'm not sure what it was like inside the storm, but on the south side of the storm where you'd expect some of the stronger downdrafts, I probably saw about 40 to 45 mile an hour winds. But again, I wasn't in the strongest part of the storm. So we'll see what happens as it continues east here.
And what we're going to be doing too, Michael, is it's getting very close now to Lebanon County. Let's see if we can just go back to the radar, because what we want to find out is whether or not they extend this tornado warning. And if that happens, then we know that this storm is likely going to be maintaining its strength. And you can kind of almost draw that line. I would say this is really just north of Interstate 81. So for anyone on 81 from, I'd say, the Capital Beltway up toward Jonestown, it's just north of that, as we're seeing this storm very clearly on our Harrisburg Tower camera too. But I would say if this is going to continue into a tornado warned storm for Lebanon County, Michael, it's probably going to be happening here within the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Michael, did we lose you?
I'm still here. I ran through a little bit of the dead zone, but I agree, Eric. The circulation has definitely broadened a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see if they continue the warning. I'm going to continue east on Interstate 81 northbound here. I'm just south of the rain. I have a few raindrops on the windshield, but I'm able to stay. I'm staying with what was at one point the hook echo in the storm. But like I said, it definitely looks like it has kind of turned from a severe storm to more of just a regular thunderstorm at this point, but we'll see what happens here.
And yes, I would say the same. I'm not really seeing the strength of this storm just based on radar. I've been looking at some of the velocity information. Even the radar itself does not look quite as ominous. It almost seems like the rain's just kind of filling around this, that it's not looking quite as severe. Let's hope that's the case. Let's first zoom in too as we show you this storm. I know we're talking a lot about it. Right now you can see Interstate 81. So I'm going to zoom in. The middle of your screen is where you're seeing 81. So all of that heavier rain that we're getting on that tower cam, that's right near Manada Gap. I'm just going to move a little farther west. So you heard about Ritzy Village and Manada Gap. There we are, Route 443. That's where you have the heaviest rain at this point. I'm not getting any additional information from hail, which that's great. If this is just a storm that's creating quite an awe when we're looking at the Harrisburg Tower cam and our first supercell of the season, if we can get by here without much damage, that's great. And the reason why we continue, and this is going to be lasting for about another 7 or 8 minutes, is the National Weather Service. They had that indication that some rotation may exist. I've had now 2 different videos sent to me showing broad rotation from this storm as it was passing by. Even that very dark teal colored look. You know, when you're talking about clouds that have that teal color, a lot of things happening within that storm. Very strong updrafts, water loaded type of storm as we see that drifting eastward now. Don't have any new updates from the National Weather Service too. So I would say right now near Manada Gap, that's now really far eastern Dauphin County. For a lot of us, maybe around the Hershey area, you can probably see this storm from a distance. It's quite amazing when you can get just one storm in the area and you don't have a whole lot of rain around it. A pretty good view of this as we see that north of Hershey, north of Annville. The rain itself now is beginning to fall from Fort Indiantown Gap down toward Harper Tavern. And now some of that heavier rain is beginning to cross into, or I should say, over Interstate 81. So really from Manada Gap Road eastward toward Shirks Church Road, that's where we're seeing that rain shaft. I don't know if we can even see that anymore from our tower cam. It's probably too far east. I know we've got a really good view from the tower cam, but I would say we're stretching now beyond the limits of what that tower cam can reach as this storm is moving eastward. So I really just have a feeling, as Michael was mentioning too, this storm is showing all signs of at least some weakening, and yeah, it's gotten a bit too far away from even our tower camera to see that distinct supercell look in those clouds, whether or not trying to determine if that was wall cloud type of cloud cover or shelf cloud from a distance, but we can still see at least some of that heaviest rain as we look east from Harrisburg, as this is now crossing over into Lebanon. I'm going to go quickly back to the radar. As we're watching this storm itself, there are other showers and storms in the area. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for a good chunk of Adams County as we see these storms moving eastward. So for a lot of us that have been hearing about storms, not really seeing much, for those of us in York County, parts of Harrisburg, we're going to get more of this rain that's going to be moving into the area too. We're just going to see if we can get a little more information here from the National Weather Service. This is also coming from Lingelstown. This is what we're talking about, that teal-colored. And Dennis, Alicia, you can almost sense that when you look at that, there was probably some very broad rotation from that. That's more scud cloud that we see. We typically call that just scud clouds, kind of just a brie-type cloud cover. But man, when you can see almost like that cylinder type look in the cloud cover, that is pretty textbook supercell right there. That's what we're talking about. That is showing that there probably was some very broad rotation within the storm.
Also looks like the sun's trying to come out behind it, you see, in some spots.
Oftentimes, I mean, that's all that we really needed. We had about 3-4 hours of sunshine this afternoon, and we went from about 60 degrees to almost 80, which is, again, another record. So if you are joining us, another 4 minutes here of the tornado warning. I have a feeling that the National Weather Service is probably not going to extend this tornado warning out into Lebanon County, but I still think we're going to get more information on that here before this tornado warning expires. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for at least parts of Lebanon County as we move into 6:30. So Cold Spring down through Jonestown, just north of Lebanon. I mean, this storm itself is moving about due east. So I would say it would be around the Jonestown area is where we're seeing this storm. This all really started to blossom all the way out towards Blaine in western Perry County. Then we had the tornado warning issued when it moved through eastern Perry. I'll take one more look here at the National Weather Service to see if we're getting any more reports coming from them.
And Eric, while you do that, is it your thought that when the storm warning ends at 6:30, that the storm will be out of the mid-state?
Say that one more time.
When this ends at 6:30, the warning,
yeah,
will it be out of the mid-state?
It'll be in Lebanon County. So what's going to end is the tornado warning. So we'll extend, and it looks like they just did extend the severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like the rotation, and I was just looking at the National Weather Service, and they even mentioned that the strengthening that we do see perhaps weakening just a little bit too. So that's good news. If they just extended a severe thunderstorm warning, that's telling us that we're probably not going to continue coverage here with this tornado warning, that the signs of any rotation in this storm itself is weakened.
We'll probably join World News in Progress when this ends. Okay, so it's the tornado warning that ends at 6:30, but some mid-staters may experience a real storm still.
Yeah, and it's not just over here in a half an hour or so. There's additional showers and storms that we'll see, but the threat of severe moving into the rest of tonight is going to be much, much less.
I'm so glad it crossed the river. It sounds like that's what what really calmed it down.
The best news that we can get so far, too, is the fact that we just had some wind gusts of around 45 miles an hour and nickel-size hail. That's all that we've heard so far, which is good. This moved through the mountains of central Dauphin County, sort of an area that doesn't really have a whole lot, of developed area, so that's good. And now it just seems like it's ready to cross that Dauphin County, Lebanon County line.
It's worth pointing out again for our viewers that their safety is the top priority, and maybe they aren't seeing anything where they are, and they might be saying, all right, I want to see the news, why am I seeing this? If there is a tornado warning in the area, we need to stay on and keep an eye on it.
Yes, that's really our responsibility. You know, as meteorologists, when we go to school, the two things that, we're sort of trained on is the very first thing we want to do is obviously protect human life and then protect property. That's why we are on air. The best thing that we can do is provide you the best information that we can when these situations do occur. We did get the bulletin now from the National Weather Service mentioning that the severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Lancaster, Lebanon County, and central Dauphin County, that's going to go until 7 o'clock. And they still say that there is a radar indicated weak rotation. So that tells us that we still want to watch this very closely, even though it's not a tornado-warned storm. So there's at least a little bit of a hint of rotation within this storm, Dennis Alicia. So we are basically wrapping up the time that we do have of this tornado warning. Coming up at 7 o'clock, any information that we get, obviously from Michael Brullo and many others around the area and our digital team, will be certainly passing that along.
And I just checked our website. I'm not seeing any pictures of storm damage. Let's hope there isn't any.
Right.
You wouldn't be surprised if there is storm damage?
I would say for a lot of us, it's probably going to be just wind damage. Let's just see if it's straight line winds or if there was actually any rotation there, and maybe a little bit of hail. But hopefully this was just a very powerful storm that was able to kind of drift through the area. And as Michael Brullo mentioned too, sometimes it's ebb and flow. It kind of weakens and strengthens as it moves along. So hopefully we didn't really see much damage as it did push through.
Are you done? Is it over, the tornado warning?
Tornado warning has expired.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eric, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great job,
you.
and shout out to the very, very dedicated Michael Brullo.
Absolutely. And let's join World News, probably in progress.